Well, thank you all for being here today. We know that it's a warm afternoon and you're probably feeling a little sleepy because of lunchtime. So we're going to do something that's interactive this afternoon to help you revive your spirits, keep you awake. Okay. I'm going to let these folks get out if they want so we can start, or come join us. The one thing that we hear is that there's not enough women trained for leadership and prepared to take those seats in the C-suite or at the board tables. So what we're doing with our organization is making a conscious effort to create that next generation of women leaders. And we know that this generation, it's going to be transforming into an international style of leadership, where they have to be able to work with other countries across borders with common values of leadership. Our organization started several years ago by polling the women ambassadors to the United States. We've gone from 5 to 25 when Hillary Clinton became Secretary of State. And we worked with them, created a roundtable to get their advice and their opinion on how the young women in their countries could best be trained for leadership. Since then, we've worked with several other organizations like the Harvard Women's Leadership Board and developed a curriculum especially for adolescent and young women in their 20s. So these young women, thanks to Bode Media, have just finished a week of training here in the mountains of the Alps, and then we're invited by Bode to come attend this wonderful seminar so that they could see all of you as role models and be inspired as to what they could achieve in their lives. We have women from all over, Kyrgyzstan to Indonesia, and they're going to share some of their stories with you. But first what we thought we'd do is find out, do their values, what they're looking for in leaders differ from what we have been expecting in leaders? Are they looking for new qualities in this generation of leadership? So what we're going to ask you to do is, if you guys want to pass out the cards, we're going to have you break into small groups of like 6 to 8, and among yourselves discuss and come up with 4 values of leadership. Within your group, come up with what you think are the 4 critical values of leadership. You might want to get up and come over to the side or turn around in your chairs. Perhaps this third here, you can break up into groups. Okay. So within your group, we're going to give you 10 minutes to come up with what you think are the core qualities of leadership. Just 4. And then we're going to put them up here on the board and see if there's a consensus among you as to what are the values. Okay? Okay?
Just turn around and talk to them.
Is there anyone here from Baxter?
Please repeat
I would like to introduce you first to one of our young women from the Middle East. She's here because of Laura Bush's organization that works in Egypt with young women in their 20s and 30s. They came to Washington, D.C. last summer, and we met with them and asked them if they could help us reach out to the even younger generation of women in Egypt. They went back and they recommended an exceptional young woman who's here with us now. And so she came to our program in Washington, here in Munich. We've done the same thing in Washington, D.C. and other countries where we hold a summit. We bring young women from around the world so that young local leaders get to see internationally what their peers are doing. The purpose of our program, if you see up here, I Live to Lead International, is to create that next generation of women leaders by starting at this critical age when they're making their life decisions. It's also statistically the age where there's usually a precipitous decline in self-esteem among women, and that's universal around the world. It's this age where they start losing faith in their dream and their vision. So this is the age we wanted to intervene and create the next generation, give them the skills that they can return to their community and lead projects, And more importantly, what most of us were missing during our early careers is, what did you need that you didn't get much of when you were starting out? Role models. What about a network? A network of women that were going to support you? How many of you have that now? Where you feel you have a strong network of women that sponsor or support you? Okay. So that's what we're doing with this group, is giving them the practical skills like project planning, financial planning, public speaking, and then in addition, giving them inspiring role models like you all, plus a peer network of support for when they return to their communities, they can still reach out to the other friends. And then as they grow, they're the old girls network of tomorrow. So we're going to see what you all are coming up with for values, and then see what this generation is coming up with. Do you see any common values among that you all chose? Anyone see a shared value that all of you have? Oh, this young man up here sees one. Yeah. Integrity and empathy. Anything else?
We had visionary and inspires.
Visionary and inspiring. Anything else? Inspiration? Yeah? Credibility? Self-confidence. Pardon me? Walk the talk. So living the life that you're teaching others to follow. Is that got it? Anything else? Okay. Then what we're going to do now is turn over to the young women and see what it is they value. As an introduction to that, I'm going to ask Hadir from Egypt to show you a project she's been working on in her country.
I'm Hadir from Egypt. Of course, anyone or every person here knows well about the Egyptian Revolution and Tahrir Square and what happened in Tahrir Square. I guess not many people here knows well about the sacrifices, and especially women who sacrificed in Egypt. I think not many people knows well about women who dedicated their whole time for this revolution. So what I did is a video to show you the real stories of those people and their real experiences, because they are the true leaders. So you can watch this video.
We want to choose our president because we want to take this country into the future.
اللي كانوا من 2005 بيقولوا يسقط يسقط حسني مبارك، فكنت اتمنى ان انا اقول ده. اما جت الثوره المصريه حسيت ان حلمي هيتحقق.
مصريين حاجه ثانيه خالص، جامدين قوي.
لكن لما انا اموت على قضيه واموت بشرف غير لما اموت جبانه وخسيسه وخايفه.
glad Hadir could come from Egypt to join us for this last week. And each of these young women also has a story to share. We're not going to have time for all of their stories, but if you get a chance to talk with them individually, what they're looking for is women like you that care enough about their future to offer them support. Because it can be very lonely to be a Hadir in Egypt on her own trying to make change. But if she knows there are others out there that believe in her, especially us women who have already succeeded, it gives her the faith that she can go ahead and do it herself. And now, when she returns to Egypt, she'll be that spark of light for other young women in the community that might not be able to aspire to, be a vice president at Merck, but they can look at Hadir and say, you know what, if Hadir could do this, I can do this. So she becomes a source of inspiration to the young women in her community. And she's got all it takes. She's got the talent, she's got the brains, she works like the Dickens, but she needs a bit of everyone else saying that they believe in her. Okay, now we're going to see who thinks that these people in this generation value the same thing as we do in leaders. Who thinks it's, and you guys can't raise your hands because you probably know the answer. You think they value the same qualities? Yeah? 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 You think these qualities are universal? Okay. We'll cut right to the chase. There are universal qualities that they've studied. Gallup did one of the most famous and extensive surveys to see across cultures, what's value. For those of you that prefer hard science and numbers, instead of impressive with people naming qualities, there was a statistical study done of the Fortune 500 companies over a 30-year period. And in studying over 30 years, they found only 15 companies were able to maintain a rate of return 3 times the average in their industry and do it for 15 years. So there are 15 companies out of the Fortune 500 that they found were extraordinary. And the one thing that they found they all shared was a certain style of leadership. And by coincidence, that style of leadership embodied the same qualities that numerous polls have found are what are valued around the world. So we're going to look and see what you all came up with, and then see if the girls came up with anything different. Okay, basically, would you like to stand up and tell them what they found? No, look at yours first. This is Julia from Russia, a young entrepreneur that can tell you a bit more about her company and the people she has working for her already. But first, you two want to say what you see that the adults found?
One of the main characteristics we're going to talk about later as well is empathy. I think that's something that makes us women also very special as leaders, because it's extremely important to understand basically who you're working with, as one of the girls will tell you a bit later.
Another thing I think that a lot of people associate with leadership in general is visionary and inspiration. What is a leader if he cannot translate, or she cannot translate in this case, the vision that he shares or where he wants to be to his followers in that sense?
Yeah, also credibility, integrity, those are characteristics of charisma, which is extremely important in a leader, because you want people to look up to you, to really follow you, to see that you are authentic.
Walking the talk is probably the difference between a person who leads and a person who's waiting to be led, because you walk the talk that you want to walk, if that makes sense. Instead of waiting for other people to do what you want to do, you're basically being the change you want to see in the world, as Mahatma Gandhi said. Coming from India, I thought that would make sense.
And one thing that also Laura mentioned is confidence. I think that's a main issue, especially in young women, because we have many of those skills, but I think what we really need to carry it out and to make it happen is confidence, and that's why we have this amazing network and really support each other and hope to become leaders and combining all those skills.
I think the last one is communication skills, networking, getting to know more people, sharing the vision that you have, meeting other people who share that vision as well. I think that's what makes the good leader.
Do you see anything lacking there that you're listening to?
I think we have a few people who are going to go up.
Okay, so good afternoon to everyone. I'm Roosevelt and I'm a Filipina. I would like to introduce to you what we come up with for, 4 qualities of being a global leader. So before we proceed, I would like to ask everyone of us here, did you ever dare to do something different? The world has a lot of traditional cultures, norms, cliches, and sometimes you just feel so exhausted and you just follow. But then we dare you to not just follow, but to lead. We dare you to make a change, and we dare you to dare. To be a global leader who wants to dare, who will dare to do something different for the better. And girls, can you please tell them what dare means for us?
They came up with this, not me.
Okay. I will start with a D. D is a dream. Well, everyone should have a dream, because a dream is a direction to get a vision for your future. And my mom always said to me that if you can dream, you can do it. And always remember that this whole thing was started with a dream. And I'm here today because as Indonesian young women, I have a dream to change my Indonesia to be a better nation. And also, not only just a better nation, but with a better population of a young women in Indonesia. Thank you. Well, yeah, after this conference, I will back to my country and I will do my project, my ICANN project. It's called Indonesian Young Women's Conference. I will make it something like this, but with this smaller, I mean. Well, I hope it can be start from really like a small act, but with a huge impact. That's it.
My name is Janara. I'm from Kyrgyzstan. I'm gonna tell you about A. What does it mean? A means authentic. So I think leaders should be authentic because everyone should love his dream, goal. For example, my dream and my goal is to prove to every girl in my country, especially in my country, that it's possible to have a successful career and to have a family. So I just want to break this stereotype, and I really wish to prove to every girl, because it's very important not just for me but also for all people. And I think that is I want to achieve, and that is my dream. And I think that it's one of the important qualities to be a leader, and that leaders should have.
R stands for resilience. You probably all know this saying that what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And I think that's especially important for leaders. One striking commonality that I saw throughout the conference is that most of us had something happening in our life that actually made us wake up. It was kind of a wake-up call. Some bad things that maybe happened to us throughout our lives, and those things actually inspired us to become leaders. It's really, I think, especially as women, again, it's very difficult because you have so much social pressure to be kind of perfect, and failure is not very well accepted. For me personally, when I started my own IT company when I was 18, things went well for a while, but then you can't control everything. And I think many women have a difficulty because they try to control or plan everything ahead. And it was shocking for me how difficult it is actually to stand up after something didn't work out the way you wanted it to, and because especially you don't get a lot of support. So we believe that a leader should have this quality to stand up after difficult times, but also to inspire other people to do the same. And that's why we also want to support each other in difficult times and give each other the motivation to carry on with our dreams and goals.
I think one of the skills we have as women, which is often more so in women than men, as we heard in the speaker yesterday, is that empathy is that trait where you want to listen to people, where you can guide people even if they don't know where they want to go, even if they can't express what they truly want. The gift of a leader is helping those people get there and understanding them and their dream.
Rose from the Philippines told us to dare, but I think when we were talking about what is the difference between our generation of leaders and your generation of leaders, I'm fairly certain that given the time, all of us would have thought of these words. There are two things though that keep our generation maybe a little different from what you grew up with. One is cultural awareness, and that is what I'm here to talk about today. We are all here, a week ago we were complete strangers, and now we're here in front of you from a dozen different countries, very, very good friends, and I think I'm going to take back, different homes from Bishkek and High Five, that's how I pronounce it, where is she? Yeah. Washington and Jakarta, and so many of them have told me that they will not come to India and not come down south. But what actually struck me as very surprising is that we had a leadership spa a couple of days ago where they played us brilliant music and got us to lie down and close our eyes and asked us, what makes you happy? What surprised me personally was that I was happier in a classroom than I was, in a fancy office building. But what was more surprising was that I shared this dream with a Russian, a Filipino, a Liberian, and so many other people from all over the world. And that, I think, is what empowered me over the last 1 week. I think what I'm trying to say is that expanding your horizons, building a network which is outside the limitations of our own personal communities, because all of us are coming from places where we are trying to create a difference in our own neighborhoods, schools, universities, even maybe the city. But here we are with a bunch of girls who are trying to make a difference all over the world, and that has made us all so much more culturally aware.
About 45 minutes ago, they said to me, well, what shall we do when we're on stage? And I said, we're going to do a Steffi. We're just going to wing it. You guys figure out what you want to say amongst yourself. And you went off, and I thank you for what you came up with. I'm very surprised and impressed. Now, I'm going to put one of our girls on the spot here. Here we have someone. Where do you go to school, ma'am?
I go to Cambridge.
Could you stand up and give us a perspective on what it was like for you, where you're coming from a land, the Western world, where there's a lot more cultural development, where you've been relatively isolated from what is happening in some of the other girls' countries. Was there anything in particular that struck you about their experiences?
Well, I have to say that when I came to this I Live to Leave summit, I didn't know what to expect, because it's true that I am the cliché of the Western girl who studies art history at Cambridge University and la-di-da and sings classical music. And I actually do want to have an impact on my community and change, if I could, the world. But I thought that my motivations were less, I don't know, Mother Teresa than people who actually have real issues in their community and real struggles and real barriers against their drive and their dream. And by meeting these people, I honestly found role models of my generation, and that I wasn't expecting, because we had at the beginning to find leaders from today, women leaders, because we thought it was quite difficult to find them, because when we think of leaders, mostly we think of men at the head of companies, countries, and sadly, the women are not as numbered. Okay. And by just meeting these people, talking to people from different cultures, who had so many barriers against their happiness and their drive, I just realized that, I didn't have to Google people. I could just meet people who could actually give me the motivation to get out of my shell, get out of my easy life, and actually make a difference. Yeah.
Okay, so the I Can project is something that Laura and a wonderful team came up with. And it is that we all came here with an idea, with a dream that we have, and I hope some of you are going to give specific examples. And what they do is they take this idea. I came to Washington last year with the idea of building a shelter in the Philippines for women who suffer from prostitution and sex slavery. And I came there with the idea that I wanted to do something, because I went to the Philippines during my gap year. And when I saw Laura and Holly and Joanne in Washington, they really helped me to not be made it the very vague idea, to make it become very concrete. And we had great management lessons, and they really helped me to structure it and to think about the financing and to think about who could help me and what I could do in terms of alliances. And it's just an amazing idea, because we have so many things in our head, and it's so important to write it down and to make things concrete. And maybe some of you would like to share as well, because I've already talked quite a lot today, and I think it would be interesting to hear from you guys. What have you, Lynn? Lynn is from Liberia, and she's an amazing dancer, but she's also, and she got a scholarship for $5,000 for the United States. $50,000 or so.
My name is Lynn Rapai, and I'm from Monrovia, Liberia, and I'm residing in the United States. My I Can project, as Lisa said, which stands for I Can Make to Act Now, is first I'm from Liberia, and in Liberia young girls my age do not often get to go to school because of some barrier situation. Because when the mother has so many children, the mothers have that mentality that the men are the one mostly to go to school and succeed because they end up having family. But I wanted to put this to an end. I wanted to have these young women, I want to start my organization that will send school supplies or resources to young women my age in Liberia and resources so that they can be able to go to school and get good education. And so later on in the future, they won't have to depend on men and look up to them, but they themselves will be independent and help empower their community and go on later on in life.
Yeah, I just want to say that Lynn is actually also the youngest in our program. She's only 18 years old and already has such amazing dreams and goals and an amazing personality as well.
Dare. You should dare to ask us a question.
So you've had an amazing week, and you are all amazing young women, and I'm really very touched by being here. What can we do? How can we help you to support your dreams?
Who would like to answer that?
I think one of the biggest things that DLDwomen has given us in the last 2 days is being able to just meet people like you. Because very often where we come from, role models are not particularly accessible. Like Corley was saying, you Google them and you wiki them and you get to know them. But just we've met some of you over the last couple of days and we've exchanged email IDs, and just the possibility of writing to you in case we need any help in the future is such a big gift.
Hi girls. May I ask, because there are not so many of you, may I ask every girl to give us one takeaway from this conference and your program?
So you like the one thing they learned?
Just one word. Yeah, okay.
What is your main takeaway from this experience?
My takeaway is own your own space. Be confident enough to own your own space. Because we learned that you always tend to, when you speak, you kind of, we're shy. We all have insecurities, but we really learn to stand up for ourselves and to own our own space.
One of the things we teach them is there might be a different approach when you're going to deal with a group of men versus a group of women and you're trying to network. So we're talking about owning your own space when you're moving into a group of men that you tend to make yourself bigger to get yourself noticed, to stand a little larger. You own that space. Because you notice the men at the conference table, they're not sitting there like this. They're like this. So it's teaching them they need to own that space and be proud of what they have to contribute.
I would say lean into your fears, because I'm often kind of quiet and afraid to be the center of attention. But part of being a leader is to just jump into something, sometimes without overthinking it, as we often can. Just lean into your fear.
I'm Ines from France. For me, it's probably share things and never being afraid to ask questions. I think that's the most important thing I learned here, especially with an international group like this. So I'm happy to be part of this, and thank you.
Yeah. I learned about how to make a project. Project planning is very important that I learned for several days in here, because after this I will make a project. That's why I learned many things about how to convince, how to get a sponsor, how to convince someone to get a partnership and something like that, donators. And the important thing is how to, about financial planning. That's it.
I think we can all learn some financial planning earlier.
Hello to this gorgeous audience. My name is Chiara and I take care of the social media for Live to Lead. I think that what DLDwomen Alif to Lead has as in common is the fact that women leadership is not an optional. And that's what we all strive for. So this is what we want to do since a very young age, and this is what you have to help us do.
Could I add that Kiara volunteered 8 months ago to take over our social media program. And we are very reliant on volunteers for all of our programs, so we were delighted. I don't know why we thought perhaps a young person shouldn't take on social media. She might not have the experience. She obviously knows more than all of us. And in that short course of time, she got our Facebook page up to some weeks we had 19,000 readers around the world. From remote little islands in the Pacific. So they're going into the Internet Cafe and reading the website and Facebook. So we thank her for what she's done, and it certainly made me appreciate how much you all had to contribute.
I think if I had to resume what I learned, I think it's all about movement. So not only to actually go to someone and say like, hello, and like shake their hand if they're a man, something like that. But also, movement isn't, when you're a leader, it is about like catalyst movement. So you have a team behind you, and you have that vision, and you just have to accept that you're the one not the one in control, but the one with responsibility, and stop being afraid and always, asking someone else to talk, asking someone else to decide, because in the end, all you do is sit in the corner and not fulfill your dreams, not fulfill your expectations, and just realize how much time you've lost. So I think they really helped all of us, I think, to just get there, like get down there, get in the real life and start acting. But that was really awesome.
I think that from this program, I will take that we have to believe in ourselves and never be afraid of trying new things.
Could you add, you have rather a unique position in the world, where you're kind of at the crossroads of several cultures. Bring the mic up a little to your mouth, okay? And tell them.
My name is Maria Khalaf. I am a Christian Arab Israeli. Yeah, it's too complicated. And also, I'm studying computer science at Technion in Haifa, in Israel. I'm in my 4th year, and I also study work as a student in Intel company. As an Arab, I consist 20% of the Israeli population, and a woman, as a computer science engineer, I consist one of 60 women in Israel, Arabs in Israel. So I think that I have a really special role in my community. And I want to be a real role model for Arab girls in high-tech and all the and all the in all the subjects in the
My name is Julia. I'm half French, half Italian. And this week I understood that even though we really have our own stories and we're fighting for very, very different things, that together everything seems more doable and easy. And that was very reassuring.
The thing I would take away is we're young. We're never too young to make a change in our country or community. And the second thing is long-lasting friendship in our program. And starting out an organization, we may have problems and we may fall, but at the end we will have all of these young ladies behind me to help support me in different countries.
Okay, what I learned is actually 2 things. First, that in Egypt we're not the only people facing problems, and we have we have many problems in common. And the second is public speaking.
One second. Just to put what Hadir said in perspective, the first thing she told all of us earlier this week was, I can't talk in front of people. I don't know how to hold a mic. And then, before today, she volunteered to show you all her videos. So I think that's how much she's come in the last week.
but the main I want to mention that I understood how it's important to be ready to share with your ideas, with your plans, and also I learned how to make a networking that is very important to be a leader and to develop your ideas, your plans. So, and also thank you for all of you for sharing the ideas, for helping us to know how to make a networking. Thank you for all of you.
What I learned about this program is to see the world as still a better place to live, because you see, I'm an industrial pharmacy student, fourth-year student in the University of the Philippines, and I had some internships where I see that for most people, they see education and health as being, luxury, not a right. But I do believe that it is a right, and I know that we can still have something to do with it. So what I learned from this program is not to be so pessimistic about it. We still have something to do, and there's a lot of you guys here willing to do something, and it's just, an eye-opener that there's still hope and you can still do something.
What I learned is that it's important to look deeper, to look beyond what meets the eyes and really question motives. We might be quite different in our cultures or the things that we actually do, but if you actually ask why do we do those things, what are the things that lie behind our actions, our words, I think we're so common actually. No matter where we come from, no matter what we do, it's always the same motive. So always ask why.
For me, I think it can all be summed up in the two words, reach out. Reach out within yourself to find out why you want to do what you want to do, or how you want to do it. Laura and a few others were telling us that we all came in with very idealistic dreams of, I want to change the world, and when I go back home, the country is not going to be the same place, and all of that. But over the last 1 week, I think all of us have broken it down to more, bite-sized, handleable, bits. That's one thing. But also reach out to the community. You will often find friends who are doing sort of the same thing as you will. People who are older, who have more experience, who are willing to help you, and sometimes, like Lynn taught us, even people younger than you.
Well, we're here this week, Grace of the Bodes and Steffi. So they were the ones who gave you the opportunity to hear these young women's voices, and even more for these young women to hear your voices. So we're extremely thankful for this opportunity to be heard, and we hope that that'll continue, that you'll be able to provide opportunities and other occasions where you can hear young women's voices by supporting them through your corporation, doing a mentoring, sponsoring program, or a leadership program with young women, volunteering on an individual basis. Anything you can do to help this next generation. It's not going to get to the leadership positions without the rest of you. And we thank you for taking your time today to help them.